She smiled while the hut burned and nobody screamed. I was there the night we found out the truth about the princess. This happened in 2011 in a small village near the border of the forest. I won't say the country. Some people are still alive. I was 19 then. She was not a princess like in the movies. No crown, no big palace. Her father was the town chief. When he died, she took control. People called her princess because she said royal blood ran in her veins. Nobody argued. In our village, power is not something you joke with. At first, she acted kind. She paid school fees for some children. She brought rice during the dry season. She prayed loudly in public. She hugged old women and called them mother. But small things started to happen. A man who spoke against her lost his farm after a fire. They said it was an accident. The fire started at night. No one saw who did it. A woman who refused to join her. Women's group was accused of stealing money from the market. No proof, but the princess stood in front of everyone and said she had information. The woman was beaten by angry youths. Later, we found out the money was never missing. Still, nobody questioned her. I worked at the chief's compound as a helper. I cleaned the yard. I carried water. That is how I saw things I wish I never saw. Only she and 2 strong men had keys. One evening, I was told to take a tray of food to the back room of her house. When I entered, I saw 3 boys sitting on the floor. They were not tied. That room was always locked. Maybe 15 or 16 years old, but they looked scared. I knew one of them. His name was Peter. He used to play football near the well. The princess was standing in front of them, calm, smiling. She told me to put the tray down and leave, but before I left, I heard her say, "You should not have talked about me." The next morning, those boys were gone. The story in town was that they ran away to the city, but Peter's slippers were still behind the compound. I saw them myself. Weeks later, a meeting was called. The princess said some young boys were planning to disgrace her name with lies. She said they were working with enemies. She said strong action was needed to protect the town. People clapped. After that, fear became normal. Anyone who spoke too much was called a troublemaker. Anyone who asked questions was accused of jealousy. The princess had loyal youths who followed her everywhere. They were the ones who started the fires. They were the ones who spread rumors. One night, my uncle told me in a low voice that the boys had been beaten in that back room. He said one of the guards got drunk and confessed. The boys were forced to admit they were plotting against her. They were made to sign papers. After that, they were sent away in a truck before dawn. Their families were warned to stay quiet for their own safety. The most unsettling part was not the violence. It was how normal she made it look. On Sundays, she dressed in white and sat in the front row at church. She raised her hands during prayer. She cried when the pastor talked about forgiveness. People said she was strong. They said she was chosen. They said she was protecting tradition. I left the village a year later. I could not sleep well anymore. Every time I saw her smile, I saw those boys sitting on the floor. Last I heard, she is still there. Older now. Still respected. Still called princess. And when I think about that burning hut and her standing there without blinking, I understand something. Evil does not always hide. Sometimes it stands in the open, smiles at you, and dares you to speak.